Oh, hello, everybody. Thank you ever so much for taking the time today to watch our latest Railbookers group webinar, Explore Italy by Rail, which, as you can imagine, is going to be talking you through some of our most popular holidays and destinations in and around Italy. So I'll be your host today, Sam, hoping to inspire you for that next trip away. So just before we look at the holidays today, we'll just take a quick peek at who Railbookers are, what we do, and why over the years many guests have decided to use us to book their holidays. So just to touch upon a couple of these, you can see there, top middle, we're able to book and send you on your travels from today all the way through to 2024. So we can actually book up to 2 years in advance. So if you're looking for that big special trip and you're thinking about planning ahead, then it's never too soon to do that. We can start looking at trips all the way up to April of 2024. But we also understand that people are really itching to get away right now after we've been cooped up for the last couple of years. So if you're somebody that's looking to get away this, late spring, early summer, we really can start to book your travel now for even next week, next month. So please do contact us if you're looking to travel anytime in the next couple of years. We also offer maximum flexibility. What that really means is that all of our holidays that you see on our website or on our brochures can be completely tailor-made to fit your liking. As we like to say, if the train goes there, so do we. So if you don't see something that exactly fits your taste today, then just give us a call and we can listen to exactly what you would like and tailor your holiday around that. That's no problem at all. And also you can see there, we're the rail experts and no rail trip is too complicated for us. There's around 26,000 rail stations in Europe. Sometimes it's quite difficult to plan a holiday in Europe by rail because there's so many different options. Obviously, we're the experts or our travel consultants are. So if you're not quite sure where to begin, just let us know. We can start planning that out for you. And we also have the largest rail holiday selection anywhere in the UK. And because of that, we also now have numerous digital brochures that you can download from our website if you wish. We have our worldwide independent rail holidays, which kind of covers the breadth of our holiday portfolio. But then we have more specific brochures. We have a Spanish holidays brochure. We have a Scotland brochure. We have a luxury journeys brochure. One of our Orient Express holidays that will feature later on appears in that brochure. So if you're looking to get a bit more specific with the destinations, then we do have around 12 brochures now on our website that you can download. So please feel free to go on and download as many as you please. Also a global company, as I'm sure some of you will know, we do have offices and consultants all around the world, from the UK to the US, Canada, and Australia. And what this really means is that no matter where you are on your travels, or what time of day it might be, you should always be able to get through to someone in one of our locations should you need to. We really are a global outfit. And finally, as you can imagine, being a rail holidays operator, we do have direct rail partnerships with many of the main operators across Europe and North America. Deutsche Bahn in Germany, Trenitalia, which we'll be looking at today, of course, and then Amtrak and Via Rail in North America, to name just a few. It's these relationships, partnerships that allow us to get the best rates for you on the trains and also to put forward any special requests that you might have on the trip. Okay, so let's crack on with why we're here, which is to look at our holidays over to Italy. So the first holiday we're going to look at here is our grand Venice, Florence and Rome trip. This is a 7-night, 8-day holiday. Starts from £1,699 per person and takes in, the three of the big cities in Italy. The ones that are the most popular on everyone's bucket list, usually when you're ticking off your Italian cities, especially if you've never been before. That's Venice, Florence and Rome. So the holiday starts in London with a Eurostar trip over to Paris. A couple of hours into Paris, you'll arrive into the Paris Gare du Nord station, and then it's just a hop across Paris to the Paris Gare de Lyon station, where you'll pick up the high-speed TGV to Geneva. You can either take the metro across Paris, it's a few stops You can get a taxi, or we can include a private transfer for you if you wish. That's no trouble for us whatsoever. Once you arrive into Geneva, you'll get there for kind of mid to late afternoon. You'll have that first evening to spend, if you wish, having dinner by the lake. A very nice setting. You should have a bit of time to explore the city centre as well. Then the following morning, this is where your scenic journeys really begin. You're going to take a trip on the Simplon Pass between Geneva and Venice via Milan. You get to see some of the stunning scenery of the Swiss Alps. It's around a 7-hour journey, and you'll arrive into Venice for mid-afternoon. Then you've got those kind of 7 nights in Italy, 2 in Venice, 2 in Florence, 2 in Rome, and then 1 on the way back in Turin if you do come back by train. And we include an awful lot for you as well, lots of different tours, skip-the-line tickets, and I'll touch upon some of those in just a moment. So as I say, kind of 7 nights in Italy. There is an alternative option to have the 6 nights in Italy and then fly back from Rome. Completely up to you, your preference. We do offer air and rail or round trip by rail options on all of our holidays. So completely up to you. Okay, so as I mentioned, your first night will be in Geneva. Get there for mid-afternoon. You make your way to your hotel. Hotel's just a few minutes walk from the train station for your overnight stay. Hopefully you'll have time, I'm sure you will, to have a nice meal at a local lakeside restaurant, even time perhaps to take a boat trip out onto the lake. And you'll definitely have time to have a wander around the city, get an understanding of its kind of cosmopolitan feel. And also you'll be able to admire the stunning backdrop of the Alps and the Jura Mountains for Geneva. So really nice city to start your tour. And the reason we use that as much as anything is because the train departs there through the Simplon Pass that takes you into Venice, which is your next stop. So as I mentioned, it's about a 7.5-hour journey from Geneva to Venice along one of the most scenic routes in the whole of Europe, the Simplon Pass. You really get to relax while the train follows the shores of Lake Geneva, then across different Swiss vineyards before reaching stunning views of the Alps in the background. And for me, when you arrive into Venice, Venice is probably the greatest city in the world to arrive into by train, in my opinion. You step off the train, walk down the platform, outside the station, and then you come to these famous steps that take you right down to the Grand Canal, and you've got the city, almost magically floating atop the water. It's something that you don't really get to see as much when you arrive by air. You don't get that jaw-dropping magical experience of just walking out and seeing the city in all its glory in front of you. So that's a real highlight of the trip for me, that first image of Venice when you step off the train. You're going to have a couple of days in Venice, probably a day and a half to discover the city. We do include a walking tour that'll take you to some of the main attractions, but also it will help you to see some of the city's hidden gems as well. It's kind of an off the beaten track tour, which is great. And we include a gondola ride as well as part of the trip. There's nothing more iconic than having a gondola ride down the canals of Venice. And you do also have a skip the line access ticket to the Doge's Palace and St. Mark's Basilica, 2 of the most popular attractions in Venice. It's good to have those skip the line tickets. It really means you get the most of your time and you're not waiting in those queues. So we do make sure that you see the most of Venice while you're there. Between Venice, Florence, Rome, you're going to be taking the Trenitalia services. Really comfortable, really relaxing, high-speed services throughout Italy. To be honest, much nicer than the rail travel we have in this country, as I'm sure most of you are aware. We do recommend upgrading to the premium class service on board the Trenitalia trains in Italy. They actually have 4 classes of service: standard class, premium class, business class, and leisure class as well. The premium class is the one up from standard class. It's just a few euros more to upgrade, 10 to 15 euros, that's all. And it does come with larger seats, leather seats, more spacious. You get a welcome drink as well. And as I say, 10 to 15 euros across all the journeys to upgrade. It makes a bit of a difference, I think, and it's a very nice way to experience travelling through Italy. There's probably no better way to experience Italy than by train. So the next destination will be Florence. You'll have a day and a half, much like Venice, to experience Florence at your leisure. The holiday does include skip-the-line passes to the Uffizi Gallery, that world-famous art gallery in Florence, home to some famous Renaissance masterpieces, Botticelli's Birth of Venus. There's some Michelangelo's in there as well. If you want to see Michelangelo's David, that's just up the road at the Accademia Gallery. We also, again, much like Venice, include a walking tour so you can discover the city's history and culture. Make sure that you get to visit the Duomo as well, that huge cathedral right in the centre of Florence. And of course, make sure while you're in Florence to sample some of the Tuscan cuisine. My recommendation, if you are a meat eater, is to have a dish called cingale, which is a wild boar pasta. Exquisite dish, and goes very nicely, as I'm sure you can imagine, with a glass of wine from the vineyards and hills surrounding the Florentine city. And finally on this trip, it's going to be off to Rome, the Eternal City. So 2 nights in Rome, again, direct service from Florence through to Rome. Very walkable city. Rome is the first thing I would say. I was there for just a day once, and I managed to visit almost all the attractions in one day. But you've got a couple of days here, so you can do it at your own leisure. Again, we include a walking tour around the city's ancient history, and it does include a skip-the-line entrance to the Colosseum. The queues to get into the Colosseum, especially at busy times of year, it can be an hour, 2 hours long. So we make sure, we'd like to always make sure on these holidays, in fact, that you get the skip the line tickets to the main attractions. As I said earlier, we want to make sure that your time is well spent, because that's as precious as anything when you're on your holiday is the time. So you're going to have that walking tour entrance to the Colosseum. That's on the first afternoon. On the second day, in the morning, you're going to have a skip the line tour of the Vatican Museum and Sistine Chapel. So you get to see Michelangelo's phenomenal ceiling there. And again, you really do need to skip the line tour if you're going to get in and see the inside of the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel. And then in that afternoon in Rome, you've got a bit more free time to visit perhaps the Spanish Steps, the Pantheon, unearth some of those ancient and modern wonders that Rome has to offer. And just finally, to take a look at our featured hotel in Rome, which is the Hotel Mediterraneo. The hotels that are featured in our packages tend to be 4-star quality, but we do offer, everything up to 5-star luxury. The Hotel Mediterraneo in Rome is a really nice historic hotel, has a fantastic lobby, nice small rooftop bar, features in a lot of Hollywood films, actually. And this is the one that the package price is based around. But if you're looking for something a bit more luxurious, just to mention, as I say, all our holidays can be tailor-made to you. So the hotels that you see in the holiday packages that you see on our website aren't the ones that you have to stick to. If you wish to upgrade to a 5-star hotel, just let us know and we can see what we've got in our portfolio that might fit your needs. Okay, the next holiday we're going to look at is our Essential Sicily holiday. This actually starts with flights into Catania and ends with flights out of Catania as well. So it's flights in and out of Sicily, and then 6 nights on the island itself in Catania, Taormina and Palermo. Of course, if you didn't wish to fly and you wanted to take the train through to Sicily, we can do that, of course. It's the similar kind of route, London to Paris, Paris to Geneva, a night in Geneva, then Geneva to Milan, and a sleeper train from Milan through to Sicily. If you wanted to do it slightly quicker, you can take a direct TGV from Paris to Milan and then straight onto the sleeper train, but you don't get to see the Swiss Alps if you do it that way. So there are a couple of different options for those that don't wish to fly. This particular holiday, though, is based on the flights in and out, and that's what that £1,729 starting price is based on. If you did take the sleeper train there and back, you're going to be adding 3 to 4 nights onto your holiday. So you're going from around a 6-night, 7-day holiday to a 10-night, 11-day holiday. So let's take a look at some of these destinations. So you're going to start in Catania. Depends what time your flight arrives, of course, but you're going to have a bit of that first day to explore the city at your leisure. And then that next morning, you're going to make your way to a famous meeting point called the Elephant Fountain to meet your private guide, who for a couple of hours will take you around Catania to the busy marketplaces. You'll see some food markets as well. You'll get to sample some of the delicious street food, local cheeses, cured meats, pastries that Sicily is so famous for. You'll also enjoy a traditional tour of an arancino and get a glass of wine or a soft drink with your guide, whatever takes your fancy. And so a really nice kind of food market tour in the morning. In the afternoon, you've got a bit of leisure. There's a ancient Roman rotunda, there's an amphitheatre, there's a nearby Norman castle. So lots of culture and history around the area as well for you to explore on that second half of your free day. in Catania. If you did want to extend your trip out, we do also offer a tour of Mount Etna as well. You probably can't do that in just the time that you've got in this particular package, but if you wanted to extend the holiday, as I say, everything can be tailor-made. So maybe 3 nights in Catania, then we can include a tour of Mount Etna up to the peak of Europe's largest volcano. After Catania, it's off to Palermo, a fantastically historic city, the capital of Sicily, of course. It does have some of the best preserved examples of Byzantine architecture anywhere in the world, really. We do include a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing pass, so you get to explore the whole city, really, in one day. You get to see the Royal Palace. There's a fantastic Palatine Chapel as well. There's just a couple of the ancient buildings which are a must for any visitor down to Palermo. And please make sure that you do, I'm sure you will, sample some of the culinary delights. It really is the mecca of Sicilian cuisine, Palermo. So make sure that you head off and have dinner in one of the city's amazing restaurants before you leave. And then the final stop on this tour is Taormina. So you'll have a bit of time that first afternoon in Taormina, but we do also include, again, a 3-hour walking tour in Taormina with a private guide, a local guide as well. Of course, they're extremely knowledgeable about the area. They'll take you to all the major sites of Taormina, including its famous Greek amphitheatre that you can see here, which boasts stunning views across the sea, across the straits of Messina there. Also, there's some fantastic beaches in Taormina as well. The Isola Bella beach, one of the most famous. And you can say that about Catania as well. So you can really mix culture and relaxation on this holiday. A lot of ancient history, culture, and some fantastic beaches in all these destinations. So a real plethora of things to do on this holiday. And if you've already seen some of the main sites in Italy and you fancy something different, then the trip down to Sicily is a great idea for a holiday. Okay, so the third trip we'll look at today is our Amalfi coast via the Alps. As you can see, again, starts in a very similar fashion to our Venice, Florence and Rome, with that trip to Geneva and then travelling through the Simplon Pass via the Alps and Milan down to Florence. Only different series. Instead of starting in Venice, you're starting in Florence. We do just include the 1 night in Florence here. Really, it's just a stopover in between Geneva and the Amalfi coast and Sorrento. But of course, if you wanted to extend your time in Florence and have 2 or 3 nights there, we can include that for you as well. No problem at all. But the real highlight of this particular trip is that 4 nights that you're spending on the Amalfi coastline in Sorrento. So let's take a look at Sorrento, city of orange and lemon groves, one of the most beautiful destinations in the whole of Europe along the Amalfi coast. It's been home to the Greeks, the Romans, the Normans over time, so a lot of diverse culture there. Also been home to some of the great English poets, Byron and Keats. It's very romantic down there, so they based themselves there over the years. But really, it's famous for its peninsulas, its piazzas, its relaxing feel, the weather, the local cuisine, local restaurants, the fantastic pretty streets that are lined with shops, get handmade gifts, spices, traditional chinaware. Really is a fantastic, romantic, exquisite destination to spend 3 or 4 nights. And you're going to have a couple of days to spend some time in Sorrento. But then whilst you're there, we do also include a couple of day trips as well. One of those is out to Pompeii. So you're going to have a full day trip out to Pompeii. So head off in the early morning to the ruins of Pompeii with a local guide. And they'll tell you stories of Mount Vesuvius, the eruption there that, as we all know, buried the city in ash many years ago. You'll also get to travel up to the slopes of the volcano itself and explore the crater. So a real fascinating day tour out to Pompeii. And we do also include a day trip out to the island of Capri. So again, this is a full day tour. You'll get breakfast in the hotel and then you'll set sail for this idyllic Italian island. There'll be round trip jet foil transfers from Sorrento. You'll travel around the island by minibus. You'll get to stop off and browse in some of the lovely stores in Anna Capri. You'll get to see the famous Augustus Gardens. sample up and soak the atmosphere in some of the piazzas, La Piazzetta being the most famous. And we also include a visit to the Blue Grotto. This is a must-see when you're in Capri. It's a sea cave on the coast of the island, of course. You know, it has famous having sunlight passing through an underwater cavity that shines through the seawater, and it creates this phenomenal blue reflection that illuminates the cavern. So that's included, and there's also a lovely funicular ride up to the Marina Grande, which is an area of Capri that boasts kind of colourful houses. It's home to Capri's fishermen. It has the island's biggest beach as well. So it's a real wonderful day trip to Capri included as well as part of this holiday. Okay, the penultimate holiday today is our Rome and Cinque Terre holiday. This starts with flights into Rome. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but you can make your way by train. Exactly the same route, London to Paris, Paris to Geneva, night in Geneva, and then travel through the Simplon Pass and the Alps via Milan down to Rome. So again, you don't have to fly, but that's what this particular package and holiday is based on, is the flights into Rome and out of Pisa. So for this one, it's a 5-night, 6-day trip starting at £1,347 per person. You get 3 nights in Rome, and that comes with everything that we discussed in our previous holidays, and then 3 nights in Cinque Terre. Now, the point of difference with this particular holiday, as in Cinque Terre, you get to stay in your own apartment. You really get to experience the area like a local would do. For me, this is really the highlight of this particular trip, is the 3 nights that you get to spend in Cinque Terre on that gorgeous coastline. So you're going to stay in an area called Minarola. From Rome, just to talk about the travel briefly, so you'll travel along the coast up to La Spezia, and there's then just a short but wonderfully scenic regional rail journey up to Manarola. When you arrive in Manarola, you'll be met by a guide. They'll show you to your apartment, and along the way they'll give you plenty of information on what you'll need for your stay, as well as suggestions on what to do in the area, and perhaps some ideas on where to eat with the many great restaurants. They'll also present you with your Cinque Terre card. This covers all your travel in the region during your stay. So you can travel to any of the 5 little towns that Cinque Terre gets its name from whilst you're there with the Cinque Terre card. So all your travel around the area is covered. That first afternoon, though, we do include a venture to an ancient wine cellar for some tastings of local wines and some nibbles. So a really nice way to start your trip. On the second day, you do get a full day at your leisure. There's some fantastic coastal paths that you can take walks along and enjoy these breathtaking views. This might be the day perhaps that you decide to ride the local trains around the area and visit each of those 5 gorgeous villages that I mentioned. Or you may decide just to spend the day in your apartment admiring the sea views and living life like a local. But if you do want any ideas on what to do in your free time there, just give us a call, and one of our consultants can talk you through many of the different options that we have, maybe visiting local vineyards. There's also an option to take a boat out onto the water and have some lunch or dinner with these incredible views. So if you're looking for some inspiration, please do let us know. And then on your final day in the area, we do also include a getaway to a pesto making factory, where you get to learn the secrets of that true Italian speciality, pesto. Spend an hour with a pestle and mortar learning how to make pesto. You're guided through the heritage of this local speciality. And then, of course, you'll get to sample some of it with some focaccia and a glass of Cinque Terre wine as well. So that morning is spent learning how to make pesto, and then the final afternoon is yours to enjoy. So as I mentioned, just have a look. You do have your own private apartment with a little balcony area that looks out over the sea, and plenty of tours included as well, including a trip out to one of the vineyards of Cinque Terre. Okay, so the final trip we're going to look at today is our Venice Simplon-Orient-Express holiday out to Venice. Definitely the most luxurious holiday we'll look at today. Probably one of the most luxurious holidays, not just in Europe as well, but across all of our trips around the world. So this is a 4-night, 5-day trip, and which includes 2 days on board the Orient Express and 1 night on board the train, and then 3 nights in Venice, and then either the option to fly back from Venice or come back via Turin if you wish to. So Orient Express starts in London on board the British Pullman. You'll have 3 hours on board the British Pullman carriages. You'll get a 5-course Bellini brunch, be waited on hand and foot in these kind of historic carriages that take you through to Folkestone, and then you'll take the Eurotunnel across to Calais, where you'll board the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express. That evening you'll have a 4-course dinner, get to spend some time in the bar car, the lounge car, socialise with your guests, get dressed up for the evening. It's full of opulence and glamour, the Orient Express, as I'm sure many of you know. Whilst you're having dinner, your beds will be made up, then you'll retire to your Belle Epoque cabins. That next morning, when you wake, there'll be stunning scenery. We often talk about the elegance on board the Orient Express. We often forget the views that you get from on board the Orient Express. There's a picture window in every cabin. When you wake up that morning, you pull your blinds down, you're going to have Swiss scenery, then into the Austrian countryside, some glimpses of the Alps. Really is a magical trip, not just on board, but for the views and the scenery that you get as well. On that second day on board, you're going to have breakfast served to your cabin. You're going to have a 3-course brunch. You're going to have afternoon tea as well. You have your own porter to answer any of your questions. They'll even be able to show you around the train if you wish. It's incredibly historical. It's a I suppose a hidden gem of travel. Not many people get to travel on board the Orient Express. If you are one of the lucky ones, then it really is an amazing experience. Probably I'd say an uncontested icon of train travel. So we've mentioned a bit about the trip. Let's have a look at what life is like on board. So there's a lovely bar car where you can relax and retire to in the evenings. They have a pianist that plays there every evening as well. There's a wonderful lounge car. This is where you can get to meet and socialise with your fellow passengers. A lot of people will mix the time up from spending a bit of time in their cabin to coming to relax in the lounge car. A lot of people travelling for special occasions. Very interesting to find out why people have chosen the Venice Simplon-Orient-Express to travel down to Venice. It's a nice place to get talking, get chatting if you wish to. Great place to relax throughout the day in between meals. Here's a picture of your cabin. Kind of opulent, classical, traditional, really harks back to the days of the original Venice Simplon-Orient-Express that took that journey from Paris through to Istanbul. You've got a little welcome drink you can see waiting for you there. They aren't the most spacious, but that's because they're very much in keeping with how they were back in the 1930s. And then you've got your onboard dining experience as well. So a lot of the experience on the Orient Express revolves around food. All the food is freshly prepared on board. Really is a Michelin star experience. A la carte menus, wine included as well. Privacy when you're dining. You'll have your own table. Very romantic feel to it. Everybody gets dressed up. The men are in black ties, tuxedos. There's elegant dresses. It's very formal on board. Please do remember that. In the days, people aren't expected, of course, to walk around in black ties and tuxedos, but there's no jeans. So it will be shoes, trousers, shirts throughout the time on board the Orient Express. And then just to have a quick look at what the cabin looks like when it's made up. So on the Orient Express, the standard cabins are bunks. There is the option to upgrade to what's called the Grand Suite. which does have a double bed. There are only 2 of those on board each service, I believe, and they obviously do come at a bit of a premium. But if you are looking for ultimate luxury and you want to stay in a double bed, then please let us know and we can inquire about the cost of a grand suite. But as you can see, beds are made up into bunks. The other option you do have, if you do wish to have 2 lower berths, is you can book out what's called the cabin suite, which essentially is 2 standard cabins with an interconnecting door. So you're not in a double bed, but you can book out 2 lower berths if you don't wish to have one of the upper berths. And you pay full price for the one standard cabin, and then you pay half price for the second cabin. You obviously get a lot more space as well with that. So that is an option if you were looking for the 2 lower berths. But this gives you an idea of what the cabins look like when they're made up for the overnight portion of the journey. Okay, and that concludes our webinar today on our rail holidays into Italy. Hopefully you've seen something that takes your fancy. If you want a bit more information, then you can either give us a call, as you can see, 020-3780-2222, or just jump onto our website. I'm sure that's where many of you found us, railbookers.co.uk, for any more inspiration. But I'll let you get back to your day. Once again, I just want to say thank you for joining me and taking the time. It's always a pleasure, and we hope to speak to you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.